I will call to order the Ottawa City Commission meeting for Wednesday, June 3rd, 2026. May I have roll call, please?
Mayor Clayton,
Present.
Mayor Pro Tem Crowley,
Present.
Commissioner Allen,
Present.
Commissioner Skidmore,
Present.
and Commissioner Van Layden.
Present. We are all present and accounted for. I want to welcome everyone here in the audience and out in the hallway, as well as those watching online. We will do the Pledge of Allegiance, followed by the invocation by Commissioner Skidmore. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic which is one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Let's pray. Father in heaven, we give you thanks for this gathering. We thank you for this beautiful city hall you've given to us. And Lord, for this beautiful city as well. We think of all the city employees and the staff. We're just thankful from top to bottom for every single one of them, is to ask for you to bless them and their families each and every day. And Lord, as we look over the agenda today and the items on this, we just ask for your direction and guidance as we make these decisions to bring honor and glory to you. All these things we pray in Christ's name. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, Commissioner Skidmore. That'll take us to item 6, public comments.
We have 12 registered. Perfect. Our first one is Susan Hughes.
Welcome, Susan. Please state your name and where you live. Thank you.
I'm Susan Hughes. I live at 1201 South Ash. Good evening, Mayor and Commissioners. I know this is a very important, big decision, what to do about this data center. A wise man takes counsel from many wise people. A lot of these people that are opposing this data center are intelligent, well-informed, well-educated on this issue, so it's wise to listen to them. One thing that's really a problem is it seems like we're not being told what's going on. There's no transparency. I know the city spent a lot of money on Proximity Park, and then nobody wanted it. So some data center comes in and offers you some money and you grab it. At the time, I know they were said that they were going to use solar panels to power it. And then the deal fell through, and now this group is going to use diesel engines. We're jumping full steam ahead into this, and they're going to create steam. They're going to use 5 million gallons of water a day to create steam. We don't have that kind of water. We can't use that. We don't have regulations to zone this, to regulate the noise, the chemicals that are being released from this, how much water they're using. We really need to take some time, create a moratorium. Sedgwick County did, because they need to rewrite their regulations. We do not have adequate regulations for a project of this size. RFK Jr. said that these data centers have a horrendous risk to human life. This is a serious matter. We need to really give it some serious thought. I don't know how far you're in the process. I don't care if you lose whatever money they gave you. I think we need to save our environment. We need to save our community. We need to preserve our water. We need to quit poisoning people downstream with it. And the noise and vibrations, there's just too many serious things. We just really need to slow down, take some time, do some study, go visit some of these people that already have them. Look at some of the regulations that some of these other cities are writing up. What do we need to do to protect your people? Don't protect the company that's doing it. Don't protect the lobbyists. Protect us that voted you in. You are our voice. If this was a democracy, we could vote today and it would be down. But we're not a democracy. We're a constitutional republic. So we have to have you be our voice and take our best interest at heart. Nobody else's, just ours. Thank you.
Rebecca
Thank you,
Schmo.
Thank you. First and foremost, I want to say thank you to the commission and to Mayor Clayton. You guys are here because you love our community, and I appreciate each and every one of you. I am also here because I am your constituent, living at 1526 South Cedar, and I am opposed to the data center. That being said, The real reason I'm here is because these are our shared constituents. And in order for me to share their voice and their values whenever I'm in Topeka and having these same conversations at the state level, I have to know what their voice is. So thank you guys for taking the opportunity to listen to our constituents so that I can also share their values. Thank you.
Thank you, Rebecca.
We have Rachel Rhodes.
My name is Rachel Rhodes. I live at 3267 Kingman Road with my husband and 7 children. We are 2 miles away from Proximity Park, and I am not necessarily opposed to building an industrial park there. I actually kind of like the idea of my husband having a 2-minute commute versus a 45-minute commute. But I have real concerns with using the area as a data center. One of the issues that I see is I don't see as it being a real source of jobs for Ottawans. I have heard 30 jobs, and I don't know anybody that has that type of job that's capable of running a data center or a natural gas energy plant. And I'm not here to complain because it's ugly and I don't want it in my neighborhood. I know a lot of people are opposed to these type of things because they just don't want to look at them, and that is not the case for me. Sorry, I'm nervous. I don't talk to adults, I talk to children. My main concern is the water usage that I've heard that these data centers use. So I took what our household uses, and it is a large household, and divided that by what I hear data centers use, and it comes up to something like 11,000, the usage equal to 11,000 homes. And my question is, where are we going to get that type of water? You guys have seen the Merzine every July, how low it gets. Where's that water going to come from? And how is it going to be disposed of? What type of erosion is that going to cause in the riverbed? Dumping that much back into the river daily. I'm assuming if it comes in daily, it's going out daily. And what type of contaminants is that going to dump into the ecosystem downstream? So these are questions that I feel like need to be answered before we can be happy with proceeding with this type or any type of industrial business that wants to come to Proximity Park. Thank you.
Thank you, Rachel.
Roxanne Mettenberg.
Hello, my name is Roxanne Mettenberg. I live in the county on Nevada Road, zip code 66078. And what I want to say to you is, when I was 20 years old, I was given some advice from an employer. He said to me, the only people who don't make mistakes are in the graveyard. The important thing is to own your mistake and correct it as quickly as possible. That advice has served me well for 60 years. Late in 2024, I think most of us had a little notion of economic and environmental implications surrounding hyperscale data center construction and operation. That label data center at that time did not bring up visions of massive resource-sucking industrial enterprises. We also did not have federal or state legislation that incentivized this kind of build-out. So it is not surprising that a proposal in late 2024 with promises of big revenues to a community would fail to raise false flags or red flags. But now in 2026, the reality on the ground is quite different than any of us may have perceived in 2024. The resource utilization around energy and water is staggering. Kansas is a state that is prone to drought, some lasting several years. I have lived through them. That is the case. Water has historically and is one of our greatest, most fragile resources. The energy demand is likewise overwhelming. Even if electricity is generated by the data center, AKA behind the meter, hyperscale facilities will inevitably drive up electrical rates as they compete for natural gas that is subject to the laws of supply and demand on the commodity market. And itself, natural gas is a finite resource. The economic benefits and employment benefits of data centers are also elusive. Fortunately, due to the extensions requested by Lightfield, you all have the opportunity to reevaluate this project more thoroughly from sources independent from these developers. I ask all of you to read this comprehensive analysis from University of Michigan Department of Science, Technology, and Public Policy. This report documents the true costs and limited benefits surrounding this nationwide gold rush to hyperscale data center activity. Both the state of Kansas and this city are stumbling into every mistake itemized in this report. So we ask you to pause this effort, engage the public, and put in place very specific zoning ordinances targeted to the negative aspects of data center development before you continue to pursue this endeavor. We also ask that you eliminate the tax incentive, financial incentive, as per recommendations.
Thank you, Roxanne.
Jim Wonderly. Thank you.
I didn't prepare a speech or anything, but in my previous life, I was a mechanical engineer, and I know these systems can be put together with a very minimal water consumption, relative minimal, but the demand will have to be on you all to make sure the specs are there to reduce water consumption. They can put in closed loop systems on the cooling, which is probably what's going to consume most of the water. And if that's not a closed water tower system, the demands are going to be high. And your developer that you're dealing with is not going to want to do that because it's a lot more expensive than the conventional cooling system for these computers. So you guys are going to have to put the feet to the fire to make sure they do what's best for us. The other part of it is the noise, and the noise levels can be horrendous. And same thing, noise can be attenuated based on building construction, but they have to put the technology into that construction in order to keep the noise contained. Because within a mile, it's going to be unbearable. And 5 miles, it's going to be heard. But it can be avoided. So I ask you to, again, as previous speakers have said, stop, pause, make sure you get an engineer on board before you even sign the agreement to see what means you can go to the extreme to save water and to avoid noise. That's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you, Jim.
Jan Coons.
Hello, Commissioners. My name is Jan Coons. I live at 3442 Rock Creek Road in Ottawa. I respectfully ask that you place a pause on allowing Lightfield Energy or any data center project to move forward in our community until additional research, public input, and careful evaluation can take place. Please listen to the concerns of the many local residents who call Ottawa and Franklin County home. We are deeply concerned about the enormous energy demands, strain on infrastructure, environmental impacts, noise pollution, significant water consumption, and the gradual loss of the rural character that makes our community so special. Once a project of this scale is approved, the impacts can be permanent. We are simply asking you to pause, fully evaluate the risks, and protect the people, land, and resources that have sustained this community long before outside corporations arrived with promises of economic development. More than 700 Franklin County residents have signed a petition opposing data centers in our county in 1 week. Their voices deserve to be heard and carefully considered. We have confidence that you will do what is best for Ottawa and future generations by thoughtfully reconsidering this proposal before moving forward. Thank you for your time, your service, and your commitment to our community.
Thank you, Jan.
Chris Mays.
Chris Mays. I live here in Ottawa. on Locust. And in the past, I've talked about much of what has been talked to already, but I kind of wanted to hit home a little harder this time and speak to the codes that you already have, like 14101, which addresses stormwater pollution. Its purpose is preventing the discharge of contaminated stormwater runoff and illicit discharges within the city. It goes on to say that this also applies to pollution of the water of the United States. It sets a precedent that both it and the city can be held accountable to. It goes on to say that this applies to the improper discharge of, sorry, lost my place, wastewater, petroleum products, petroleum products, cleaning products, hazardous waste. The code speaks to the termination of utility services even for this pollution. After notices of violation, fines, orders of abatement. It says city representatives can enter facilities, and it's unlawful to try to stop them. I ask at the very least that you make sure you apply those same standards. I may apply to stormwater. I'm not sure if it directly applies to the data center or not, but a public statement saying that all of that will be applied to the data center as well would go a long way for me. But we also, I mean, you were also told about that University of Michigan report, and it says that tax breaks for data centers do not deliver the promised benefits, such as high-paying jobs. They can reduce tax revenues. They shift burdens onto communities. It says their massive energy demands are prolonging the operation of fossil fuel plants and undermining green energy goals. It advises the mitigation of data centers' environmental impacts with sustainability goals, laws like the German Energy Efficiency Act, requirements for green energy use, transparency through mandatory reporting. But I also ask you to just reconsider this project. I don't think it's fitting the values of the city. I think that would be much better applied, Proximity Park, to housing development, to small business development. Those are things that I think anybody in this community would applaud you for, love you for. And this is a very controversial thing that's seeing a lot of opposition. The more people know about it, the more word gets out, the more opposition I'm seeing even. It's surprising me. I mean, this community is working together across party lines in ways that I never thought I'd see. So it's been remarkable, it really has. So, and if you don't think that water pollution really applies to us, that's just not a real thing. I mean, there's reports by KDHE that will list pollutants that are already in the water. Now, I will grant you, I'm not trying to lie to you here, that some of those can be naturally occurring, but they also cite potential industrial causes as well. So it's not like it doesn't happen. It does happen, and it also doesn't get abated. It just continues. I mean, do we all want to going to the store to buy all our water and not drink out of the faucet? Because if this goes in, that's the first thing I'm going to do. I'm not going to trust the tap anymore. Thank you for your time. I think my time's up.
Thank you, Chris.
Michael Lewis.
My name is Michael Lewis, Ottawa resident at 433 South Poplar. Thank you, Mayor, Commissioners, everyone in attendance, those watching. Last meeting, you approved an ordinance pertaining to dog control. Section 2 of that ordinance read, to protect and promote the public health, safety, and general welfare of the citizens of the city of Ottawa. Chronic bronchitis and emphysema, heart disease, heart attacks, strokes, asthma, neurological effects, cancer, premature birth, low birth rate. Those are just some of the increased health risks associated with a natural gas power plant. And yet, air pollution is only one part of the conversation. We are being asked, well, rather told, to accept the water demands of a massive data center, the health and environmental impacts that come with it, and the uncertainty of what these combined burdens will mean for our community in the years ahead. When the health of our families, the quality of our air, the security of our water are all on the line, caution is not obstruction, it's a responsibility. When is the last time you've seen this room filled week after week after week? Just look around. This is not politics, it is community. I urge this body simply to do what you are supposed to do in your role every day, highlighted by Section 2 of our new dog ordinance. Protect and promote the public health, safety, and general welfare of the citizens of the city of Ottawa. Thank you.
Thank you, Michael.
Rich Colson.
Good evening. Rich Colson, 1610 Blue Stem, Ottawa. At the beginning of this meeting, we all stood and we pledged allegiance to the Republic. A republic is defined as a form of government in which the power belongs to a body of citizens entitled to vote and is exercised by the leaders and representatives of those people. You are not representing these people. I think a recent Gallup poll indicated that 71% of U.S. citizens oppose data centers. This community, I think, is a pretty good representation of the American public as a whole. So I think you could probably extrapolate that around 70% of the Ottawa citizens would be against this. But instead, this project was initiated and advanced in secret behind closed doors with no public input. That is a violation of the trust we have given you by voting for you, and a violation of your responsibility and duty of the office that you hold. Everyone has stood up here and has told you of the water pollution, air pollution, all of the negative impacts that this has on the community. My point is that you have done wrong by the citizens of Ottawa by perpetuating this, by bringing this up, by even broaching the subject without some sort of a ballot or at least initial input from the citizens of Ottawa. You did none of that. You sat behind closed doors and you voted for this. That is not okay. And it will be remembered come voting time. Thank you.
Thank you, Rich.
Sean Torres.
All right. Hello, my name is Sean Xavier Torres. I can go, right? Good. Okay. Name is Sean Xavier Torres. I've been a resident of Ottawa since 6th grade. I've been working at KOFO since I was 15 years old, and I own my own house in town. I haven't been able to hear too much of what everyone's been saying, so I'm not sure if anybody's talked about actually drafting an ordinance to redo the regulations on what a data center is and actually defining what a data center is.
Chris, can you pull the mic down?
Oh,
Or,
sorry.
Sean.
Yeah, no, you're fine. Is that better?
Thank you.
All right, good deal. So I had a whole draft ordinance that I sent all the city commissioners via email a few days ago to look at and look over and see if you guys can't make that work and turn it into an ordinance. But I did have it here to submit to you all if you wanted to see the paperwork for yourselves. Actually, I'd like to submit it for public record. I think it is, right? Good deal. Anyway, it's a whole 4-section deal here talking about amending the local zoning regulations to define, categorize, and regulate data centers based on the infrastructure, demand, and operational scale. I could go through all of this, but I'm not. I'm just going to go talk about the definitions that it talks about here because I think that's really key in regulating data centers. First of which is enterprise data centers. These are localized facilities designed, constructed, and operated primarily for the internal data processing and storaging needs of a single primary organization. So like if Microsoft were to move to town and build their own data center. The next one's co-location, and this is a facility designed to provide services to other smaller enterprises. And then we have the ones that we're talking about now, which are hyperscale or AI, which you can read through this and figure out all the specifics here. But it says things like a total cumulative electrical power demand exceeding 50 megawatts, continuous power consumption design rates exceeding 50,000 gallons per day, which I know has recently been resolved. The inclusion of on-site dedicated electrical substations or high voltage transmission line upgrades and aggregated backup generation capacity utilizing more than 20 industrial diesel generators. And a whole list of other things that talks about here as to defining the regulations and all the stuff here. I don't really want to go through it all in a public meeting setting, but like I said, I will submit it to you all for a public record. That's all I had today.
Thank you, Sean.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Okay, Scott Yergin.
You guys are pretty patient. I'm Scott Yergin, 3332 Rock Creek Road. My dad was a mayor. I think I told Zach this twice. on the city council, then mayor, two-term. Mexico, Missouri, a town about 3/4 the size of this town. When I was about 12, I asked my dad why people voted for him. I might have been 13. And he said, I thought it was the black people, but my dad, I'm pretty old, so he might have said colored people. I don't remember. And I asked him why, and he said, I'll show you after dinner. So he came home from his store. He owned a store in Mexico. And he said, after dinner, he said, let's get in the car. And so he drove us to where it was a segregated black community. And he said, when we got there, my father said, roll down your window and tell me what you see and smell. So it was kind of shacks with lights penetrating through these vertical slats. And I asked my dad, like, what is that? And he said, these people have newspapers for insulation. And he said, what do you smell? And I said, urine. And Daddy said, you mean piss? And I said, yeah, that's what I smell. And I asked him why, and he said, these people have outhouses. And there's one guy, Mr. Morris, who owns most of these black houses. And he said, these houses are grandfathered in to the zoning code. And it's I can't remember what my father said, a competition between law and what's right. And and he said, this is what results. So it's an analogy. Proximity Park, I think it should be zoned before this light field comes here or any similar entity. Zoning helps us prevent what my dad showed me in Mexico, Missouri when I was 12 or 13. It's a city that smells like piss. So I appreciate your time.
Thank you,
and
Scott.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Brooke Sheets.
I'm actually not Brooke Sheets. I'm reading on her behalf. But before you start the timer, I just want to make sure the commissioners are aware that the live stream is not working. I hope that means we are recording, but just not streaming. Because we have some frustrated people who thought they were going to be able to watch it but cannot watch it. So, okay, so I'm reading on behalf of Brooke Sheets. Let me find my notes for her. She lives at 1409 South Elm. She's unable to be here tonight due to a family emergency. We all share the same air, the same water source, and the same soil. When hearing that a power plant would be built directly outside our city to accommodate a data center near homes with farmland, I was concerned that the zoning was not appropriate for this use case or that surrounding areas would be affected by eminent domain. But now I have even more concern in the area of light pollution, air pollution, and general disruptions to our health. There are many third-party studies pertaining to the impacts of data centers. Maybe you've heard of Data Center Alley in Virginia. It's been studied extensively, and these studies have shown many impacts to the people of Virginia, per a subject matter expert on the Virginia data center builds. Additionally, many groups have been working to inform the public of the risks associated with low-frequency noise, or LFN. LFN exposure has been associated with negative physical and mental health effects to children, the elderly, and those who live within a 2.5-mile radius of constant long-term exposure. Anthropogenic noise, and if you don't know what that multisyllabic word means, it refers to unwanted excessive sound generated by human activities such as transportation, industrial processes, and construction that negatively affect human health and the environment. This type of noise is distinct from natural sounds, and it can disrupt ecosystems and wildlife behaviors. This noise from data centers can be heard and or felt by humans and animals from distances radiating for many more miles. The human autonomic nervous system is subject to cardiovascular disease, high blood pressure, sleep disorders, migraines, anxiety, and depression. I'm sure all of us have experienced this when we are under stress. Our body goes haywire. Is this what we want for our children and our grandchildren's brain development while they're at school or playing at a park or participating in after-school activities? John Liver, a retired NASA analyst, actually tracked the noise from a data center in his own neighborhood as an advocate for the public interest for the Prince William Data Center Ordinance Advisory Group. And he was himself a member of the Prince William Planning Commission. He said, quote, "I'm finding that the noise is far worse than anybody ever figured it was going to be," end quote. Is this possibility really what we want in our community? Thank you, and I urge you to take time to reflect on the situation that we all find ourselves in, and as others have said, please pause. When we know better, we do better. Thank you.
Thank you, Corinne Linda. Thank you all. We will skip item 7, appointments, proclamations, recognitions, and nominations, as there are none. That'll take us to item 8, consent agenda, which consists of minutes from the May 20th, 2026 regular meeting, minutes from the May 27th study session, and agenda approval.
Motion to approve.
A motion, is there a second?
I'll second.
Motion and a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes. Item 9, declaration. At this time, I'd like to give the commissioners a chance to declare any conflict or communication they have had that might influence their ability to consider issues impartially. Hearing none, we'll skip item 10, unfinished business, as there is none. Item 11A, conditional use permit, 628 South Willow Street. The Planning Commission recommends approval of the conditional use permit for 628 South Willow Street with the condition that the sidewalk along South Willow be completed in accordance with city standards. And we have City Planner Wilms. Welcome.
Evening, Commission. All right, so this conditional use is for 628 South Willow Street. Maybe. And Planning Commission did recommend approval of the conditional use with a condition. A little bit of background. This lot is a vacant 75 by 150 lot, which is about 11,250 square feet. It's currently vacant and zoned R1. Duplexes are allowed with approval of a conditional use permit, provided that the lot area is greater than 9,000 square feet. And the duplex will also require 2 parking spaces per unit. Here's a little bit of background. The overview shows it's north of 7th Street, the second lot in off of Willow. Ooh. Here's currently what the street view looks like. This is what the developer proposes the duplex to look like. He said minus the stone facade, but a reminder that nothing is final until a building permit has been issued. The findings, staff found that the proposed conditional use is consistent with the intent and purpose of the zone in which it is located, that the proposed duplex is compatible to other land uses in the surrounding neighborhood, that the proposed duplex will not place an undue burden on the existing transportation, utility, and service facilities in the area. The proposed duplex is not necessary due to changed or changing conditions. The subject property has been vacant for over 5 years. The subject property is suitable for the proposed use. Staff did recommend approval. The proposed duplex is in conformance with the future land use map and the comprehensive plan, and the proposed duplex will not adversely affect surrounding properties so long as all standards are met. And the Planning Commission recommended approval of the conditional use permit with the condition that the sidewalk along South Willow is completed in accordance with the city standards. And with that, I can answer any questions.
Thank you. And first of all, it's nice to meet you. This is the first time you've come before us and presented.
Yes.
So is there anything before we start asking questions that you want to say about yourself?
I grew up in Topeka, went to K-State. My first job out of college was in Laramie, Wyoming, and now I'm here. And my last name is pronounced Wilmus.
Oh, thank you, Wilmus.
Director Wilmus, did the Planning Commission have a public hearing on this?
They did.
Was there any opposition? From the
There
neighbors?
was a public comment, and they commented on the parking. But I believe their comment was taken care of after finding out that we would require 2 parking spaces per unit off-street.
No other opposition?
No other opposition.
Thank you. Is there parking allowed on both sides of Willow? Is that correct?
I believe so, yes.
I wasn't sure if that was an issue or not there too. Well, I live next door to a duplex and I see no problem with this. And then the way the construction appears on what you described there showed me to, it would certainly be an improvement even to the neighborhood. So I think it's a great deal we have before us.
Yeah, I drove by it today. It looks to me like there's plenty of room. It's a big enough lot and there's not a lot of cars on the street anyway.
I know they're concerned about kids walking to school, but I don't think that school is used currently for full-time students. I believe that's not a traditional grade schooler anymore. So I wasn't too concerned about kids walking by there, but I guess that's been mitigated with regard to the 2 parking places. And so, yeah. I'll go ahead and make the motion. We approve item 11A on our agenda.
We have a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Motion and a second. Any other discussions or questions? May I have roll call, please?
How do you vote, Commissioner Skidmore?
Yes.
Commissioner Van Layden?
Yes.
Commissioner Allen?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Crowley?
Yes.
And Mayor Clayton?
I vote yes. Motion passes. Thank you. It was nice to meet you as well. That'll take us to item 11B. Consider resolution setting a public hearing for the condemnation of structures located at 1641 South Main Street. Staff will present a resolution setting a public hearing to consider whether the commercial structures at 1641 South Main should be condemned and ordered repaired or demolished. And we will have property improvement partner Hodges.
Greetings. I'm Keith Hodges. I work for the Community Development Department and for you. We have 2 items that are very similar on today's agenda. Both of them ask you to consider setting a hearing date, to consider ordering a demolition or repairs on 2 separate properties. This is the first. It's Knights Inn, which I'm sure you're all familiar with, at 17th and Main here in Ottawa. It was destroyed in the tornado. Pretty significant damage. The background on this is pretty simple. Severely damaged by the storm. The property is at one of Ottawa's busiest intersections, highly accessible to the public and highly visible. Multiple buildings lost their roofs, as you can see in the pictures. Remain open to the weather, and so they further deteriorated since the storm. Building materials have continued to blow outside of the fencing that we required them to put up to control for access and to control for the damage spreading out into the public. No repair or demolition permits have been pulled. More than 6 weeks have passed since the tornado. KDHE has required that an asbestos inspection be performed before any demolition begins. Now, the owner has been cooperative with us and is actually supportive of this process and hopes that it will help apply pressure to his insurance carrier to make a decision on the claim here. He wants to demolish these buildings and move on, but the process has not been as fast as he had hoped. Our city attorney, Mr. Finch, has contacted the carrier and sent a pretty compelling message notifying them of our lien rights and urging a prompt resolution to this. The financial considerations. The owner is Mar Parvati LLC. The property was appraised at $814,000 by the county. 453 of that has been the improvements on the property and about 312,000 in land value. Taxes are not behind. They have paid the half that they needed to pay and owe another $15,546 later on this year. It is mortgaged for most of the appraised value at $728,200 to Oaksar Bank. It's insured by Lloyd's of London. The claim is actually being processed by a claims administrator and not by Lloyd's themselves. If the city decides to, after the hearing, of course, this is not what we're asking you to decide today. We're just asking that you consider it important enough to set a hearing date to hear from all sides. But if after the hearing, the city determines that repairs or demolition is the right route and so orders that, if the property owner doesn't carry out those orders, then the city has the right to contract for that and charge the expenses to the property. And then if they're not paid, tax lien on the property is possible. So I wanted to briefly outline to you this process according to Article 14, the codes which govern this process. Number one is where we're at today, which is just setting a hearing date. Then our department would carry out the proper notifications, which is why we ask for some time between now and the hearing date to carry that out according to the statutes. And we would mail certified letters and publish notifications in the newspaper. And then when the hearing is held, you will hear from the property owners and from our department, our recommendations. And you'll have the opportunity to order repairs or demolitions. You have other options as well, but those are the two significant options that you can order. And you can issue a deadline to begin work. The Community Development Department would then monitor that process to make sure that your orders are being carried out. And if the work is not started on time or diligently pursued once it is begun, then the city has the option, as I said before, to carry out the demolition repairs with its own contractor. If we pay for the repairs, the owner is billed. If the owner doesn't pay, then the city can place a tax lien on the property, which does run with the land, so that if there is a buyer, that tax lien still holds. So our recommendation is that a public hearing be set no earlier than July 22nd. And the resolution that we are recommending does name July 22nd as the date to consider ordering the repair or demolition of the structures. Your alternatives are to follow our recommendation or deny the request or defer to a future agenda for continued deliberation.
Thank you. Oh, go ahead.
I have a question for you on that. So July 22nd being well over a month out, say the ball gets rolling with the insurance company, everything, we've already set the public hearing date. Are we then able to cancel that hearing legally since it's been published, or do you still have to have the hearing to go through the motions, or how does that work?
If the commission decided to take the public hearing off of its agenda, it could do that.
Okay.
Thank you. And thank you to you as well for everything, and it's nice to meet you too. So a lot of new faces tonight from community development.
Thank you for serving the city.
Yeah, thank you. Is it all of the buildings, just the specific buildings that are most extensively damaged? Do we have an assessment on what that condemnation would look like? Is it, at this point, are we looking for?
That's a great question. There are, let me see if I can back up a little bit. You can see, can you see all 5 structures there? Yeah, if you look at the top picture, you'll see on the left, there's a little office building. And then it is the only building that the owner feels, and some of our advisors agree with this, is the only building that might be salvageable. However, the insurance company is arguing that the largest building that's shaped like an L is at least partially salvageable. So the insurance company at this point has designated 2 of the 5 buildings as ready for demolition, that when they settle, they haven't settled yet. They said when we settle, we're pretty comfortable with ordering it, with paying for a demolition on these, but 2 or 3 of the other buildings they're still debating.
Thank you.
But to answer your question, the city would have options. You as the governing body would be able to order various options, and it might be a building by building decision, or it might be a whole property all at once.
Thank you. And then do you have an idea, you had mentioned we would set the time frame from if we, deem it condemned to when it would have to be torn down or we said meaningful work towards that. Is there a typical time frame that looks like? Is that 60 days, 30
Yeah.
days, 90?
Mr. Finch has said typically 30 days, and then you would have the option of extending deadlines. The code says a reasonable amount of time to carry out the work.
Thank you.
Mr. Hodges, I know we're talking about the Knights Inn right now, but why we have this picture up, the front built, the bottom picture, that's the McCurdy Mechanical Building or Mechanics Building. Do we have any update on the structure on the north side of it? Because it's, pretty much demolished too.
Yes, they are working on getting that demolished. They don't have any precise plans right now. I don't want to divulge too much because of private discussions, but they're in some discussions about the ownership status of the property, and that may affect their plans.
Okay.
So they've been very cooperative as well, and I expect they're going to resolve that problem, maybe not as soon as we'd like, but we do know that the structure itself, the rest of that structure, it doesn't appear to be an unsound structure at this point.
Just the adjoining structure on the north.
Right, and we did have them fence that off. So I don't know if you can even see it in this picture, but we did have them at least fence that off, so it's less of an attraction for people to
Nefarious
break in
situation,
and do things that I would
We
have done when
understand.
I was young.
Thank you.
Thank you. Along with that, pending, determination, would that also include filling in the pool? Or would it be structure demolition, leaving the pool? Would that be included in potential?
That's a good question. I don't know the answer to that. I imagine you would have options on that as well.
Do you know, does the owner, prefer to rebuild or is what their plans are? Have they mentioned?
The owners made it clear that they want to demolish. They want it all gone. And whether he wants to hang on to the land and rebuild, he wasn't so clear on that, but my suspicion is he wants to take the money and move on.
Thank you for this. And you said the resolution that we'd be voting on is July 22nd
Yes,
for the
sir.
public hearing.
Mr. Mayor, I'll make the motion that we set a public hearing for the condemnation of structures located at 1641 South Main for July 22nd of 2026.
I'll second that.
We have a motion and a second. Any other discussion?
Can I just clarify that motion that you're passing the resolution that sets that date for that
Yes.
time? Perfect. How do you vote, Commissioner Skidmore?
Yes.
Commissioner Van Layden?
Yes.
Commissioner Allen?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Crowley?
Yes.
And Mayor Clayton?
I vote yes. Motion passes. Thank you. That'll take us to item 11C. Consider resolution setting a public hearing for the condemnation of structures located at 1017 South Ash Street. Staff will present a resolution setting a public hearing to consider whether the structures at 1017 South Ash should be condemned and ordered repaired or demolished.
Thank you. Yeah, so here we have, same question, different property. 1017 South Ash, close to the high school. Some of you may be familiar with this property. This is the view from Ash Street, looking east toward the property. There are two structures here, and I'll refer to the one on the left as the north structure and the structure on the right as the south structure. The structure on the right has 5 units, and they face to our right, so they don't face Ash Street. It's bigger than it looks in that picture. And once again, the staff recommends the city commission set a public hearing date. Again, we're not talking about what to do today with the buildings, but just to decide to set a hearing to order the repair or demolition of the structures at 1017 South Ash. The background on this, as I said, there are two structures. The top building is the north structure, and the bottom building is the south structure. The north building has had 2 units. It was fire damaged in October of last year. It's currently unoccupied, and it's beyond repair. The south building has 5 units. There was also a fire in this building in 2022, and 2 units were burned. 1 unit that was burned the more severely burned of the two, remains gutted with charred joists. It's unrepaired and unoccupied. The other unit that was damaged appears to be occupied. The owner has on at least two occasions denied access to city inspection. But there's no evidence in the system right now that it has been repaired. Permits and such are lacking. Of the 5 units, 3 appear to be lived in, one by the owner, one in the fire damaged unit, the suspected fire damage unit, and one in another unit. We were allowed to inspect the owner's unit, the unoccupied fire damage unit, which you'll see later in pictures right there. But we were not allowed to inspect either of the units occupied by tenants. Further, possible correction is that there is a attic space that the owner was trying to repair and rent out as a 6th unit. But he was told during a recent inspection that he cannot do that. Both structures have additional code violations beyond the fire damage. In addition to the structural code violations, there are many code violations regarding the general management of the property and the grounds. In the past 9 years, 19 nuisance cases show up in our system. 29 written notices were sent. No responses are in our system from the owner. The code violations that persisted several years ago persist today. They include things like inoperable vehicles on the grounds, construction materials that are just piled up, trailers full of garbage, things like that. Chapter 10 environment code violations. Furthermore, there have been 175 police calls for service in the last 10 years and 2 fires in the last 4 years. These are things that you can take into consideration beyond just the structural considerations on this bill. Financial considerations. It's owned by the LLC 1017 South Ash LLC. It was appraised at $84,000 for 2025. Of that $84,000, $11,760 is the appraised value combined for the 2 structures. So the vast majority of that appraised value is land. The taxes are up to date. Total tax bill, $1,358 for the year. $653 is the balance still owed. One thing to consider, and this is true for both properties, and this may come into play should you hold a hearing and decide on what action to take, or it may not. One thing to know, though, is that the code requires that if the repair costs exceed 50% of the fair market value of the structure, then the order must be demolition and not repairs. Once again, in this case, if the owner fails to act, the city can proceed with its own demolition or repairs. And if necessary, the city can place a tax lien on the property to recover its costs.
And just to go back that slide, just a quick question here. So okay, so if the 50% of the fair market value of both structure, we're not talking about the $12,000 there. We're talking fair market value
of the structures, not the property as a whole.
Yeah, but just of the 12,000 right there.
Yes.
So 50% would be about 6,000, right?
Yes, sir.
Well, repairs
Combined.
Combined.
For both properties.
Okay, I don't think anybody's going to be able to repair that for 6,000 or less. So, okay, I get. what
I'm
you're
no
saying.
builder, but I
I'm
think
guessing.
Mr. Clayton would agree.
Make sure I understood that. Thanks.
So once again, the legal considerations here are the same as for Night's End, but just for clarity's sake, we'll repeat them. The City Commission sets a public hearing date. That's what we're asking for today. The next thing that the Article 14 requires is that we notify anyone with an interest in the property. Then the hearing is held. Commission listens to the owner and staff and the public. And the commission then may issue a resolution with its finding to repair or demolish with the deadline to begin work. Then your community development department would monitor the compliance with that. And if the work is not started on time, or if the work is not diligently pursued, the city can carry out the orders themselves. And then once again, if the city pays for the demolition or repair costs, the owner's billed, and if the owner doesn't pay, a tax lien can be filed on the property. As with before, the recommendation is that the commission set a public hearing date on or after July 22nd. And again, July 22nd is the hearing date in the resolution that we suggest. To consider ordering repair or demolition of the structures at 1017 Ash. The alternatives are to deny the request or to defer to a future agenda date.
Thank you. Do you know, with these being potentially rentals, is there any process from today if we do set the public hearing date to notify the tenants that there is a possibility that they may not have a place to live in
Yes, sir,
90 days?
absolutely.
Or if the owner's not telling the tenants that they would be notified now so they can at least start a process?
Yes, sir. They're one of the people who get notified by certified mail. And Mr. Finch has also advised us to post it on their door. And I will personally knock on their doors and talk to them to make sure they understand.
Thank you.
And that'll happen almost immediately after your vote today.
Okay. Do we have any other questions, or how would we like to proceed with item 11C?
Mr. Mayor, I
Yes.
move that we approve item 11C on our agenda.
We have a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Motion and a second. Any other discussion? Hearing none, may I have roll call, please?
How do you vote, Commissioner Skidmore?
Yes.
Commissioner Van Layden?
Yes.
Commissioner Allen?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Crowley?
Yes.
And Mayor Clayton?
I vote yes. Motion passes. Thank you.
Thank you.
That will take us to item 12, comments by our city manager.
Don't take that, don't take that as a sign of they don't want to listen to you.
Yeah, that's
I'm a little disappointed. We're just getting to the good parts. Honorable Mayor and Commission, water plant continued troubleshooting on the 3 basin and managed ongoing pool system issues. Pool has been a little foggy with the rain, but, just want to let everyone know if there are safeties issues with that water, we will close down the pool. We are testing it, but trying to get it dialed in with the excess rain here. Water distribution crews responded to a water main break, completed sewer repairs, and continued work on the 19th Street Waterline project. Production completed, cleaning and inspections on critical cooling tower and fuel storage infrastructure. Over in Public Works, Parks Department completed mowing and weed eating across parks, trails, and cemeteries. Streets Department continued work on 10th Street improvements. A few pictures of those there. Just wanted to remind everyone, got quite a few events in Ottawa here on Saturday. At the duck race down at City Park, that's from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. Treasures in Ottawa down at Legacy Square from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. City band concert at the OMA on Tuesday, June 9th. That's at 7:30. And then reminder of those 2 watch parties coming up this month for the upcoming World Cup. Just got a flyer here for Teen Safety Academy. Tentative items for the June 10th meeting, recognition of, I won't try to say his name, Raymond for completion of the power plant operator course, KMEA Board of Directors, Ottawa representative, Kansas Municipal Gas Agency, appointment of a representative to that board, and then proclamation recognizing June 19th, 2026 as Juneteenth. Just a reminder, we have some open positions right now, so encourage folks to go to our website and apply for those vacancies. I don't take any questions.
Thank you. Do we have any questions for city manager or staff? Nope, I don't think so this week. Thank you. That'll take us to item 13, comments by governing body. Commissioner Van Leeten.
I got no comment tonight.
Commissioner Allen.
I was just going to add to the busy day on June 6th. I was trying to pull up the email. It looks like there is a Prairie Spirit Rail Trail 30th anniversary celebration in Garnett at 9:30 to, which of course goes through Ottawa. The trail does, so let's go celebrate in Garnett.
Yeah.
That's all I have.
Thank you. Commissioner Skidmore.
Well, I just want to commend DJ on your mowing again. With all the rains we've had, and you guys have been able to sandwich those in between the rains, I don't know how you do it. I can't even do that on my small yard. You did it for the whole city. So thank you for that. I played disc golf at Kansas Park today. It was nicely all mowed. I can't blame the tall grass for my score. So it was well manicured, I must say. But it looks nice. And then again, compliments to you and your department. Kudos.
Thank you. Mayor Pro Tem Crowley.
I have no comments.
I will just say you stole my one about the Prairie Spirit Rail Trail. The event begins at 9:30. They're having a bike ride, run, walk, and a few other things down there in Garnett for the 30-year anniversary of the trail. Along with trails, this past weekend was the Unbound Gravel Race in Emporia. And I know last week there were several folks in town from that. I think they said 7 continents, 54 countries, and every single state was in Emporia last week. And it was a muddy mess, it looked like. I know some businesses here in town were down there. So that was just a great thing for the trail community as well. I do want to welcome, Ottawa Main Street Association is hosting quarterly training for all of the Kansas directors who are in town this week. And then I did want to ask a question of staff. I'm not sure who would be the best person to direct to. I've heard there's a building downtown that has had a roof collapsed, and just wondered if there was any updates about that, if there's any concerns, anything with that.
Mr. Mayor, I believe we'll have something on the commission agenda for next week on that subject. So probably similar to what you saw tonight, just go ahead and setting that public hearing. And, again, when we're setting these hearings, we're not really taking action on the first time. So it allows an opportunity for the owners to visit, attend that public hearing and kind of make the case of what the plans are for repair. So obviously if repair or temporary or permanent happens before then, we can always take that off the agenda if it's added, but that'll be up for your consideration as early as next week.
Terrific. Thank you. With no other comments, that'll take us to item 14, announcements. June 10th, commission meeting is here at 4 p.m. in City Hall. June 17th, the commission meeting is here at 10 a.m. in City Hall. And June 24th, study session is here at 4 p.m. in City Hall. No other matters to come before the commission. We are adjourned.